Good morning to viewers at home. My name is Daniel Pudihadi from Agribusiness Network News. Today we are having a very special guest in our midst. And that, could you please introduce yourself by telling us who you are, where you come from, and anything you would like our viewers to know about you?
Thank you very much indeed. My name is Maseli Leche. I'm an agriculture economist and also an animal scientist, but working as a consultant and advisor in farming, in agribusiness and network Lesotho.
Okay, perfect. I'd like to hear that. Today our viewers are going to be talking to Maseli Leche about the beef production in the country. My first question to you would be, do we have such in the country? Do we have a place whereby we can say the cattle are being fattened for consumption? Do we have such?
No, currently we don't have, but previously we had through the National Abattoir, but currently we don't have. Most of Lesotho, what they do, they are managing their cattle organically, and thereafter they are going to sell them. But they sell them as old as they are.
You have just mentioned Miraka here. Tell me, was Miraka buying the calves and fattening them, or they were buying mature cattle and fattening them?
Yeah, I've been the feedlot manager at Miraka. So we used to buy cattle from Lesotho in all districts of Lesotho, and by that time we had about 500 plus head of cattle, whereby we were supplying Miraka with about 50 to 80 head of cattle on a weekly basis.
Oh yeah, meaning Miraka was not necessarily breeding them, but it was just fattening them, buying them fin from our villages and then collecting them to Miraka and fattening them. Yes. But then my question is, do we have a place in the country whereby the beef production, whereby the calves are being bred for beef?
No, we absolutely don't have, because even though is that we don't have the start. When we talk of the bull start, that's whereby we are going to have different breeds of beef cattle, but still maintained with the artificial insemination. We don't have such in the country, but normally we depend on South Africa.
Okay, tell me here. If you don't have such, it means this is an opportunity that can be tapped. So, can those kind of cattle survive in the country? And what do you think is the reason that we do not have them in the country?
Yeah, the reason I will put the blame on the government, on the Ministry of Agriculture. We are supposed to have animal scientists as a specialist coming to advise the farmers, holding the workshops for the farmers about the beef, because currently the type of the animals that we have, I can't say definitely they are meant for beef production. Previously, if you can remember quite well, during the Fakan, Moshosho gave Chaka a head of cattle so that he may not fight him. So those cattle are from Lesotho, and there in KwaZulu-Natal, they are calling them Ngunis. So they are Nguni, and they are well developed currently. The problem with us here in Lesotho is because we are influencing inbreeding, meaning that we are replacing back the genes. So by so doing, that means those genes are being affected, and hence why the body condition and also the body size get to be smaller from one generation to another.
So in beef production, which breed do you think can survive better in a country?
Yeah, because Lesotho with 10 districts, we are having different climatic conditions from one district to another. Okay. An example could be Mafteng. Mafteng is very dry and it's hot. Therefore, in there, we would recommend to have a breed like a Brahman, as they are having currently. So the Brahman by itself, as we get the hump, it survives on the hot, dry conditions, because once it is dry, it has got some sort of fat in the hump that is going to dissolve and cools the animal.
Okay. One of the reasons we are not having the beef production in the country is because of maybe the government not doing enough.
Yes.
But I also think it's the role of the private sector to see to it that it plays its part in terms of investing into that beef production. But Basotho seem to be hesitant to get into that kind of business. I don't know why. I don't know why there is that. We don't see many Basotho investing in beef production, while we see them in dairy production. But is it a profitable kind of a business?
Yes, it's a profitable, but Basotho, one of the reasons that I believe that they are not much more engaged on it is because it's a long-term project. As you look at Basotho rearing pigs, chickens, it's a short term. They are making profit in a short period. But as it comes to beef, it's just like wool and mohair, whereby they are going to get those profits once a year.
But then if they can do wool and mohair, obviously they should not be having a problem to get into beef production, even though it's a long-term kind of a business. Yeah. But tell me here, if we want to produce a grade A meat, how long does it take an animal to grow into maturity until it is ready for it to be slaughtered?
Yeah.
Can it take? Isn't 4 months?
No. It's when you talk of the grade A, it's 1 year. We call them the yearlings.
Okay.
Yes, but the kind of cattle, the breeds that we have here in Lesotho, as it comes to what we call function and efficiency,
yes,
they cannot easily get into 1 year and get to be slaughtered. They will be very tiny. So we need to incorporate like the Brahmins that we have from Mafting. We need to have breeds like Bonsmara. We need to have breeds like Beef Master. We need to have breeds like Herefords.
Okay.
And also in Mokoto here, we have got at KwaZulu-Natal, we have Drakensberg Mountain. And in the Drakensberg Mountain, there was a breed that was developed. It's black in color. We call it the Drakensberg, of which I think it can survive in the mountainous districts, as we can see.
Okay.
Yes.
Or this kind of cattle and Leche, can they be able to graze? We can just take them out of our growers and graze them at rangelands.
Yeah, when you talk of the Drakensberg, yes, it can. Even also the Bonsmara, but it needs to be supplemented. They can graze, but needs to be supplemented. But once you see that the time is very near for them to finish the 1 year of age, maybe 3 months before, they had to be fattened from there.
Am I right if I say, would I be right if I say Lesotho depends wholly in South Africa for red meat?
That is very true. That is very true. Even the abattoir itself, on a weekly basis, goes to South Africa and gets the beef animals like the Bonsmara ready to be slaughtered. But we tried this strategy whereby we want Basotho, cows to be slaughtered in the abattoir. Not most of them, all of them were grade C.
Okay.
Yes.
So what is the minimum number that you can say one can keep for a start?
To make a sound reasonable profit, I think at least 10 can do better. Because as you look at the yearlings as grade A, the cost price for that as you sell them is plus minus 17,000. So when you take 17,000 multiplied by 10, that means it's going to make about 170,000.
170,000.
Yes.
Okay.
As an income.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the factors is that management also counts, because our key expectation under beef production is that those animals should calve every year. Should not calve after 2 years. For him to have that profit, he must ensure that he has got what we call a proper breeding program.
Okay. Yeah. How critical is growing or breeding the breeding beef, considering that many of our people do not have the skill? Can someone just wake up and say he or she is breeding the beef or cattle?
Yeah, unfortunately in Lesotho we don't have such strategies, because as I say that I can blame the government, is because most of the agricultural scientists or animal scientists, they are more good on as it comes to paperwork. But as it comes to the practicals, South Africa is the best.
Oh yeah.
We don't have the stats here in Lesotho. We don't have agricultural advisors as it comes to the beef production. You will find that the government has employed someone like an agricultural extensionist an agriculture extension is, we cannot say is an expert as it comes to beef production. Yeah.
Okay. For someone who is saving the money and willing to tap into this kind of industry that we're still talking about, what can be your advice to him or her?
Yeah, to get into deeper details for someone who will have interest in that, he can contact us in Agribusiness, whereby I'm a consultant and also an advisor in agriculture. To do that, we can start up looking at the range conditions that is going to use as to minimize the cost, because the feeding cost constitutes almost 25% of the total cost. Another program is that you should understand how to formulate the ration as it comes to beef, the one that I was doing when I was in the abattoir.
Okay.
And the other thing is that you must know the total cost of a feeding program and mitigation prior to the slaughter.
Okay.
So that you benchmark. For instance, we know that a kg of beef, it is increasing year after year.
Okay. Tell me here, Leche, I understand that it is possible for people to breed this kind of cattle, provided they have got the superficie.
Yeah.
But tell me, how is we also agreed that there is a market for the red meat, because now we import almost everything about red meat. Tell me, isn't the abattoirs aren't going to be controlling the prices without considering the fact that the inputs to have that cattle mature are high? Because you'll find that with other industries like chickens and whatever, when you get to the abattoir, they will be determining the price for you, and you find that when they are buying, they are offering you the prices. You find that now you are starting to make losses. So what's your take on that? Because people are worried, many people are worried about that. They can get into this industry, but the problem is after having the output, those abattoirs are going to determine what price they will be willing to buy.
Yeah, it's pity and Lesotho, because as we talk of that, it's a problem, because as it comes to what we call the marketing strategy, there are as it comes to initial processing slaughter, they are monopolizing. There is only one firm that exists within this industry, and therefore, as I say, that firm within this industry will be a price controller, not a price taker. But once we had, competitors, few of them, say 4 or 5 of them, yes, competition will be better, and Basotho will earn more of them profit from their projects.
Okay, if I understand you well, you're saying that you suggest that we should not have one company monopolizing the industry like we have now with Murani Raga,
Yes.
but rather we should level the playing field for anyone who is willing to invest into that. Into abattoir,
Yes.
to just be allowed to get into that industry
As
and
you-
compete.
Yes, as you look at that, it's also the result from dairy, because in dairy processing we only have one. That's why dairy production also in Lesotho does not exist that much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because the milk that we are buying from Shoprite, say branded Malut, 80% of that milk is from South Africa, 20% of it is from Basotho, which is not right, because those people are monopolizing.
Okay, but that monopolizing is endorsed by the government, right?
Yes, by the government. Also, the government is a stakeholder from that. It's
Yeah,
got
because the government have got some shares at Miraga,
Indeed.
and maybe at that milk.
the Lesotho dairy plant.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the government is not allowing private sector or any other person from anywhere to come and
Yeah,
invest.
if I could remember quite well, during my research when I was in fourth year at the University of Lesotho, I was researching on dairy production,
Okay.
and I found that was the policy of the government, saying that in this industry, only if you want to go for, only this Lesotho dairy plant will process and produce sour milk and fresh milk. Other companies that want to be engaged in the industry should not produce that, but they should produce the product like cheese, yogurt. You understand that? So that was the policy. I don't know currently, but at that time when I was making research, that was a strict policy from the government.
Okay.
So he still believes that in beef is just like that. Like for instance, we have other small beef companies like here Chiefs in Mapuche. You know, it is, you know, it is not official, but they are making it so that people can earn their money, you know, the farmers by themselves. You understand that? So they are just doing it underground.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would love to get milk, either sour milk or fresh milk, you can come to Mokotlo at the Pamela Dairy Farmers Association. There you can find milk, fresh milk and sour milk. If you're at your nearest shop, you can go check if there are any milk branded the Pamela Dairy Farmers Association, and you buy from there. This is where we are at now. So in Leche, in conclusion, that what can be your last words about beef production as we conclude?
Yes, beef production as we conclude it, you know, more especially in the mountains, it has got an opportunity because there are huge rangelands here in you know, Mokotlo, Tabaseka and Pukacha. But how Yamabala in the lowlands, the beef, the chances are there, but they are very small. You know, to minimize the cost, it would be a long story for them. So I would advise that the mountainous regions, this should concentrate on beef production because so they can make it as a chance, you know, taking that opportunity, because as you look at the total feeding cost, it must constitute 75% of the total cost within the project. So those farmers in the mountains, they are the ones with this opportunity. Yes, exactly.
Cannot do any necessarily have a bar. However, all Lahana industry, think of a thing at the Mogal, no snap to what's a fiddling. Okay, the Laban by Agribusiness Network Lesotho. Me bana baka o thusa ka ditsebo ka data information, because re hloka information le tsa dikep. Baka o thusa information ka industry efe kapa efe o ka wa e hlokang. Bana ba fumana di elem complex Maseli mane. Ka no tone o me bona tate le bila ho nna ko ya lona. Tuli go latetse for mananeo a mang to ba teng mo ithute ka mehla. Ntate Leche, thank you so much.
Get it like that.